welcome everyone. It's Chris Petri. Thanks so much for coming by. I'm really excited you're here. I just wanted to make a quick intro video, excerpt here just to let you know this is what we're going to be working on. We're going to be working on some beautiful swatches, color swatches. We're going to show you how to create these beautiful swatches with different colors, different shapes. We're going to explain how to get a really beautiful wash on your swatches, which are eventually going to be your finished watercolor paintings. So that might be eventually a mountain. This might eventually be another mountain or a boat. This might be a sky. All these different colors and shapes and techniques that we're going to use and methods are to get you to the next level with your watercolors. So I want you to be excited. Try out this video. Try out all the different swatches we do. And for actually an added bonus, what we're going to do here is we're going to show you, and I'll zoom right in here. We're going to take this small swatch here, which is basically a sky and a grass field, and then some distant mountains, and we're going to show you how you can parlay this into a full-size, large painting, 12-inch by 24-inch painting, something you can frame, put at your house. Once you complete it, you'll be excited. You'll have your first painting up on your wall, and you'll just be stoked for watercolor and stoked to keep learning and growing in watercolor. So that's what I'm here for, is to get you excited about watercolors. So you'll be able to do a large-scale painting just by practicing this 2 or 3 times, and I explain that all in this video. So you're going to see how to practice your brushwork, practice your washes, practice all of your techniques that you use with your palette, your paints, your washes, as well. Again, the bonus for this video is you're going to learn how to take this smaller color swatch, parlay that into a large full-scale size painting, which then you can put up again in your place, your house. You might make it for someone else too, for a gift, whatever you want to do. But the thing is, when we're doing these exercises, I'm also trying to bring an added bonus to it so that you can kind of see how we can shift gears and really go forward in a real quick way, really fast and really far forward, so that you kind of understand that creating beautiful paintings and painting large paintings and painting beautiful paintings that can be put in galleries or on your wall or for gifts for somebody else to put in their place or whatever, you can do that really rapidly and very quickly. Again, by just practicing this swatch a few times, and then you can again shift the gears, get quick, and you can do a large scale painting. And we show you everything here on this video. So get excited, happy painting everybody, and we'll be right back again with, we'll start up and get started here. All right, welcome everyone. This is Chris Petri. Thanks so much for coming by. This is an Extreme Beginners series video tutorial, and we're just going to do some color swatches. We're going to do some brush work. We're going to practice with the paints, the brush, the water. This is a key part of your watercolor technique and methods as you become better as a watercolor artist. You're always going to want to take a break once in a while. Maybe, we're usually painting paintings like every week, and then every once in a while you have to take like a couple weeks and just do some practice on swatches, brush techniques, stuff like that, just like we're going to do here. So I'm going to cover this right here in this video, how to just get familiar with your brush strokes, your colors, your washes, maybe do some experimenting, just have fun. And the great part about this is it's very, very low pressure. So when you're breaking out your paints, your brushes, your pencil, your paper, and you're doing like practice work, like doing the practice swatches we're going to do now, you're going to notice that it's going to be a lot of fun. You're going to have a great time. And also too, you're going to be learning about your watercolor paints, your washes, your pencil work, your drawings. You'll be improving your skills tremendously by doing these exercises. So I want you to do these every once in a while. Maybe once a month you take a time out and you just work on some swatches like this that we're going to do here. So I hope you're going to do this. I know you will. I also too always want to say hello to anyone that's new here for the first time. I know a lot of times on my Extreme Beginners videos here, people that come along, this might be your first time. You've never painted before. You've never picked up brushes and paints and pencils and did drawings and watercolor paper and the whole deal here like we're doing. So just have a great time with this. Have fun. Join along. Just in the beginning, when you're a watercolor artist, you just want to take the attitude of there's no pressure. There's no there's nothing really too serious about it. You're just trying to get your fundamental skills going, and that takes time. So if anyone says you can learn watercolor overnight, they're crazy, because it's impossible. Watercolor takes years to learn, to get really good at. So if you do a lot more practice, you'll get better quicker. If you're taking your time and you're maybe not putting in a lot of practice time, well, it's going to take you a little bit longer, but that's understandable. That's like anything else, isn't it? If you pick up guitar or piano or tennis or whatever, kind of a sport or a hobby, the more time you put into it, the better you're going to get. You're just going to learn as you practice. So that's the whole thing. You're practicing, you're always learning. You're getting little subtle things you don't even realize as you practice. So that's what I want to say here is repetition is the mother of skill. The more you repeat things over and over again and you repeat them, the better your skill's going to be. So if the more you practice, you're going to get better faster. So some of you might have a really tough schedule and you can't put all that much time into it. Totally understand that. Not a problem. You just do as much as you can. When you can, you're still going to get better. But if you're putting in more time and you have a little more free time and more spare time, you're going to maybe progress a little quicker. And that's just how it is. The more time you're putting in, the better you're going to get faster. But in any case, any practice is good. You'll get better and better even with just little minimal amounts of practice. So on this video, let's concentrate on just doing some simple basics, color swatches and brushwork, and a little bit of drawing skills too here. We're going to take some time out and learn we're going to draw our squares here. So I'm going to start out, and I'll do our first, maybe I'll do our first square up here, like this. So I just drew a simple square like that. I start at the top on one point here, and I go across level, and then I make a little dot over here, and I say, okay, I'm going across the page level. So in essence, like, you can use a ruler and say, all right, let me make a ruler. Let me take a ruler and make a line here like so. Or you can do it just by like hand, like so, and you make a dot. Then you say, okay, I want to go straight down now. You could also take a ruler and do it this way, or you can just do it freehand. It doesn't have to be perfect. And you go down this way. Then you make another dot here and you say, okay, now I'm going to go over to the left. So you can use a ruler here and say, all right, I'm going to go left, make a dot to the left, or you can do it freehand and just do it this way and go across to the left. And then you make another dot here, and then you go up and you meet the other dot up here. And that gives you a nice square, a nice swatch. So that's good to have. Let me actually, I'm just going to tape down my palette here. It's moving around. Okay, so I'm just taking some masking tape and taping down my palette so it doesn't move around on me. And there we have it. Okay, so now we have that first swatch. Now let's start the painting process. First thing I'll do is let's get a square brush. Let's use our large square brush. And again, on Extreme Beginners, if you just type in Extreme Beginners in YouTube, you're going to see that we have about maybe already 50 videos on Extreme Beginner series. But I think the one that I start with, I kind of cover a little bit of the brushes and things, but I'll just go over quick here. These are very inexpensive synthetic brushes that we're going to use. And this is the Princeton Art and Brush Company. They make great synthetic brushes. They're very inexpensive, and these work great. Perfect for when you're beginning and starting in watercolor because they don't hold too much water. So you'll find that in watercolor, sometimes a problem is people use too much water and it starts flooding out the paper and making all kinds of unpleasant marks and splotches and cauliflowers and balloons of water everywhere. So when you're using synthetic brushes like these here, which is the synthetic series, Princeton Art and Brush Company, and you can see it's got like a wood color handle. These come in a package of about 5 or 6 brushes. There might be like 2 or 3 square brushes like this. And there's a couple round brushes. There's another one here, a round brush. So for maybe like $10, you can get like 3 or 4 or even 5 brushes in one package with these Princeton Art and Brush Company brushes. They're perfect for they're watercolor brushes. They're synthetic. They're white when you start. As you work with them, they get a little colored here. They get the paint stains the white brush hairs, and they become grayish or so forth. But these are great brushes. I also use the brush that comes with this set. This is a round brush that comes with the standard set that I always use. I just like to show it quick, so anyone you're just here for the first time, welcome. Thank you for coming by. I'm so happy you're here. You're going to have a wonderful time at watercolor. You just stick with us each week or so. You know, if you're busy one week and you can't make it, no big deal. But you just try to keep up with this week after week, and you'll pick up the hang of watercolor for sure. And these are Oval 16 Prang Oval 16 watercolor set. It's this one here. This is more of a brand new set, so this is what it would look like brand new. When you get it brand new, we've been using this one for about 6 months now, so you can see it's broken in, messy looking, fine. That's the brush, the watercolor paints we use. Beautiful paints. You just spritz them with a little bit of water with a water spritzer bottle. You can get these at the dollar store for like, $1. And you just spritz some water on these. And in 5 minutes, they're ready to go and you can paint. And I think I have one more brush here that's a little different. This is a Simply Simmons number 6 round watercolor brush. So you can kind of see that. It's got like that pearl look to it. Round number 6 Simply Simmons synthetic brush. These are like $4 or $5 each. They work great. So what we're going to do is let's use our larger flat brush here, and we'll do some swatches here first with the square brush. So you'll get the use of the square brush. You'll see how the square brush works, how it functions. I'm going to put some water. So I'm just putting water in the water bucket. I might need some more water. Okay, a little more water. And let's get started with our paints and our swatches here. So let's just start out. Let's use maybe some blue and purple. Like that. Now you can kind of see there's not too much water in here. So I just added a damp brush with a little water on it. And then right into the paint. And we did spritz a little bit of water in our paints first. But that's the kind of the look we have right now. Not too much water, but a little bit of water. But you can kind of see it's not puddly and just water everywhere. It's kind of a medium amount of water, not too much. And then we just put lots of that on our brush like so. And then we're just going to go across like this. I rest my hand on the paper like so. So you want to rest your hand on the paper. Get your hand stabilized with your hand on the paper. And then you just want to go across like this. And just do parallel strokes like so. Pick up some more paint once your brush starts to dry a little bit and go across. And just do one parallel stroke at a time. You put your hand down on the paper, rest your hand on the paper, take your brush, line it up with the pencil line with your square swatch, your pencil line there, and just go across and then stop a little short so you can kind of see, okay, I got to go a little more, perfect, just like that. And then one more at the bottom, like this. And you can see how beautiful that looks. That's a good wash. What makes this a good wash is we put our paint on the palette first, put out enough paint on there that we didn't have to mix anymore. We just add enough there first that we know we're going to be able to do this swatch at one time. Does that make sense? So you wouldn't want to just mix a little bit of paint like this on your palette and start doing a swatch this size and then go one time you fill your brush up and you go across and you go, oh, I'm out of paint. Now all of a sudden you're rushing around, you're thinking, oh my God, it's drying. And the key with watercolors, and you'll notice this, and tell me if I'm wrong, you'll know this even if you're just starting out in the beginning, first couple weeks or a couple months, you'll notice that watercolor is sort of a fast medium. You have to kind of work quick at it. And if you let things dry too much, then you're going to get funny looking marks if you're not working at a consistent pace. So you see how I just did that? I mixed plenty of paint. We'll do another one. But you can see I mixed plenty of extra paint there and then just went 1, 2, 3, 4. I got it all done quickly And then you get that beautiful, nice, smooth wash. Like that. You see how smooth that wash looks? There's no like funny looking marks in there, or where it dried and there's funny, unpleasant looking lines. So that's the key. Let's maybe do one the wrong way, and then you'll kind of see what I'm saying. Let's take another go at this. Let's take one over here. We'll do the same thing. We'll use the same colors. So I'm going to do the same thing. Start out with a dot. Go across level. Make another dot. Stop. Swing the pencil around. Go straight down. And the whole time I have my hand resting on the paper. I'm not like this. Trying to draw like this, I got my hand on the pad of paper firmly. Like this. So that I can get accurate lines. That's all you have to remember. Keep your hand resting on your paper, and then you just let your pencil glide across the paper as you need to, where you need it to go. Okay, so we got another swatch here done. Well, let's start another one. Now we're going to do it the way we shouldn't do it. So this is practicing it the wrong way, so you see how you should not do it, because maybe you're doing these perfect every time, and now I'm going to show you the wrong way. Don't follow the wrong way to do it, but I'm going to explain it so you kind of see what I'm saying. So now let's start over again. Sometimes seeing it done the wrong way works out good, because then you kind of see what not to do. That's half the battle. Sometimes is you see you learn what not to do, and then if you learn what you shouldn't do, you won't do it. So that's what I kind of try to show here, is this is what we don't want to do. So we don't want to do this. Do this and go, okay, like that. Okay, we got some paint on there. Good. Okay, so nice. Beautiful. We got some paint on there. Like that. Okay, so now we're going to do this swatch. So now we go in with our brush. We go across once. Good. Okay, now we take our, well, let's get the rest of it here. We'll go across here. Okay, so all of a sudden now we're out of paint. So now we have to mix more paint. So let's mix more paint. Okay, mix some more paint over here, some more over there. Might be a little bit of a different color, but I don't think it's a problem. Okay, so now we have our paint mixed here. So now we're thinking to ourselves, okay, now we're working good here. We got some more paint. We realized we ran out of paint. So now we got our new paint going. All right, so now we got that. Now we're going to come over here and do this. Oh, you can already see it. It dried quickly. Can you see that? That line dried quickly. So now it didn't fuse together beautifully like this wash. Now we have that unpleasant looking line. Oh, what can we do? And we just finish up here and say, all right. We admit that we had a problem here. There we go. So now you can see what we don't want to do is run out of paint in the middle of a section like this, a swatch, or this could be any section in your painting, basically. So this could be a sky wash, this could be a field with grass, this could be a tree, it could be an ocean, whatever it is. You want to have that nice even wash going across for the most part. You want to try to aim for that goal of being able to put down a good wash like this with not unpleasant marks like this. See how what happened there? First problem we had was we let this top of the first few brush strokes, we let that dry, and now we have that unpleasant looking line there you can see. And then the second issue we had is we didn't mix enough color, so then the next time we mixed our color, we mixed it different than the first time. So you can see how the colors are different. Now, sometimes you're going to want to make different colors, like maybe this is the ocean and this is the sky. Well, then that works out good, but if you were just trying to do a large wash of the same color, that wouldn't work out good. So you want to be in control of your washes. You want to understand that to do a really good wash, you have to do a few things. One thing is you have to mix enough color first on your palette Let's try another one. Now we're going to do it the right way. Okay, now we're going to do a little bit of a larger. So we'll start out with the little pencil line here. So always try this out at home, at where you are, in your studio, in your house. Take your first swatch, make a dot, and say, okay, I'm going to go across. Okay, and make another dot here and say, okay, now I'm going to go down, like so. And the whole time my hand's resting on the paper. Then I'm going to go over here and I'm going to slide over to the left. Make another dot here and stop. I'm looking up here and going, where do I have to stop? So I go across and go, oh, right about there. I see up here, I got to kind of stop right around there. And then I go up like this. And so now we're doing a lot of things. We're practicing our drawing skills. So now you're practicing your square shapes, your rectangular shapes as we draw these square swatches. So you're getting drawing skills in. There you go. You have your drawing skills at work here. Now we're going to try to do this one the right way. So the right way is, let's mix enough color and paint for this larger swatch. So I rinse my brush. Let's make it maybe a reddish color this time. So we'll go with a red. We'll mix a couple different reds and oranges here. We'll make it an interesting red and orange. Okay. And then we're going to go across. And now look how much paint I mixed. That's a good amount of paint. That will be enough to do this. And we'll try it out, make sure. So we'll come over here again. Same thing. Hands rest on the paper. Stable, hand resting on the paper. You take your brush carefully and say, all right, let me line it up over here on that line, the pencil line. Perfect. Land it down and then just gently go across and just slide your hand across to the right until you get near the pencil line. You lift up and say, okay, I'm almost there. Another little touch of paint. Perfect. Go right back in. Go across. Do the same thing. Lift up, okay, perfect. Go in again, mix more. All the same color, because we mixed plenty the first time. And that is your key. Plenty of paint, ahead of time mixed. And you can go quickly. Nothing dries on you, and you just can make a perfect wash just like this. Right? Does that make sense? You're mixing enough paint in the same color because you mixed enough paint all at the same time, all the same colors, all mixed together, and then you just go right across. And there you have it. Perfect. I'm not saying it's perfect, but it's a good wash. All the way even the whole way. This one here, we had problems. It dried on us and we didn't mix enough paint. Remember, we just mixed that little tiny bit of paint. We did the first couple brush strokes. It dried. Then we mixed another bit of paint and it didn't even match that. So now we had two different color mix. Oh man, we had a lot of problems over here. So remember, that's the key. Mix plenty of paint the first time to paint the section that you're painting. So whatever part of your painting you're painting, let's make sure we paint effectively by mixing enough color in your palette first, and then you go in and do your brush work, and then you'll have it all there, and you'll be able to get that nice, even looking wash. Sometimes you're going to have mixtures of colors and you won't need to do that, so that's another story. But if you just want to practice getting a really good wash like this with no problems with uneven drying times or unpleasant looking dried lines on your wash, or if you want to avoid mixing different colors in the same section of your painting, that's the key, is mixing plenty of paint and then working quickly and just getting your brush strokes on there, going back to your palette, and then you have a really good effective technique on how to do a good wash, in your paintings. And the way you learn it is you practice it here first, just like this. So I'm hoping you'll see the benefit of practicing first here with our color swatches, okay? So let's come back in just a minute. And again, I thank you for coming by and practicing these color swatches. I know sometimes they're not as, exciting because it's not really like, let's say, a painting. But these are the kind of things that really help you as a watercolor artist. That'll make you really sharp. It'll sharpen your skills and you'll be able to create more beautiful paintings. So that's what I want you to do. I want you to make more beautiful paintings. So I have to kind of show you these things so that you practice them and that'll get you to that next level of creating more interesting, beautiful, pleasant, and pleasing looking paintings that people are going to love. Okay, all right, let's come back in just a minute. We'll do more. Hey everybody, just a quick informational. I'm really excited. I've been invited to the Thousand Island Arts Center to teach a workshop this summer. It's August 9th, 10th, and 11th, which is Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. And it's a daytime workshop, 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. We're going to have an absolutely fantastic time. I'm going to put up the itinerary in just a second too as well, but I wanted you to have the Thousand Island Arts Center phone number so you can call to register, or you can also register online. That's up to you. Their phone number is 315-686-4123. Again, their phone number is 315-686-4123. Or you can also register and look up all the information online at TIARTSCENTER.org. Again, their website is TIARTSCENTER.org. I'll put the itinerary up here so you can I'll scroll it. I'm not going to read it. I'll just kind of scroll it up so you can kind of see the class description. And you can look this up online too. I encourage everybody to look for the brochure. If you go to the website, you'll see a brochure button. You click on that brochure button, you'll see my course, as well as other courses if you can't happen to make these dates, but you still want to take a watercolor class or watercolor course and workshop. And there's also an online course for watercolor artists. So if you're interested in doing online watercolor courses, they have those as well. That's something this is a great resource, everyone, for your watercolor art. I know some of you mentioned that you wanted to inquire about online art and watercolor painting classes. I'm not doing them right now. I'm really looking forward to maybe in the future doing some online courses, but right now I'm just not geared up for that right now. So they have them though for those that want to do online courses. But just a great resource, and beautiful historic area, beautiful scenery, water and boats everywhere, beautiful architecture, shopping. There's museums. So that's the itinerary. And I hope you'll all make it out to the workshop. And again, we're going to have a great time, tons of fun drawing and painting in watercolor. So I hope to see you there. And let's get back to our watercolor painting. All right, we're back, and we're going to do some more swatches, everybody. So we're just getting back up to speed again, and I want to thank you again for coming by. So we did, 3 swatches here. We kind of did the first one, came out really well. And we discussed how mixing plenty of paint first is going to give you that really good wash and consistency of a wash on your paintings. Here we're doing a swatch, just a square. But this could be any kind of wash. It could be some water, a sky, a boat, some mountains, whatever it is. But you can kind of see how we got a really good, even-looking wash there. Really good. Then we showed the way we're not going to do it, which is mixing only a little tiny bit of paint, and then we ran out of paint. The paint dried. Then we had that unpleasant-looking dry mark on there. And then we mixed 2 different colors, which didn't really blend nice and didn't match. So you can kind of see how we had problems with this one. So this is how not to do your your watercolor paintings. If you're trying to get a good even wash like this, you wouldn't want to mix just a little tiny bit of paint. That's the key. You want to mix a lot of paint to get a good even wash. And then we went back to our how do we do it the right way? Plenty of mix of wash here. whatever colors you want to use. We happen to use some red, orange, and dark red, or, you know, more of a cooler red here. And then we just plenty of mix of paint. And then we just went expeditiously, quickly, and got our wash in. We didn't fuss around. We didn't walk away for 5 minutes and get something to drink and then come back and our wash dried. Like over here, we had problems. Our wash dried. So that's the key with watercolor, working good, quickly, expeditiously, at a good pace. You get your wash on the paper, and there you have it. A nice, even, good-looking wash. So that's what we learned on this first group. Now let's do a second bit of swatches here. Let's maybe do some circles. Now, with circles like this, you can use stencils. They have stencils. You can use a coin. You could take a coin and put a coin down on your paper and get a perfect circle. I would try to draw a coin, or try to draw a perfect circle, like so. Or, you know, get a circle kind of, looks like a tomato a little bit there. So, you know, practice drawing by hand. You could use help aids using a coin or, you know, maybe a cap from a bottle, whatever. But let's do this one. We'll paint this in. Let's do a green. Maybe we'll mix a couple green colors. So again, how are we going to do this effectively? Let's use the brush we get with our set. So this is the prang brush that we get with our set. Let's come over here and we mix a couple greens. The darker green here, that's more like a sap green. This is more like a leaf green or a yellow green, like that. Okay, so we'll get a good green. And then we're going to use our smaller brush, our smaller round synthetic brush that comes with our set. And we'll just start out, and again, hand on the paper, firmly on the paper. You don't want to kind of be out here going like this. Hand on the paper. Then you get your brush and you touch it down onto the swatch, which is, this happens to be a circle. And then you just set your brush down there and then just start working around it, keeping that brush right along the edge of that pencil mark there. And you can swing your brush around a little bit as you're in the middle here, but you want to keep it careful along that edge. And then now we're starting to run out of paint. Let's go back in, get more paint. We mix plenty of paint. Again, mix plenty of paint to accomplish your swatch. So if you have a really large swatch, you got to make a lot of paint mix in your palette first. Here we're just doing a small circle with green, so we don't have to go with too much paint. We'll just mix a little bit, like that. And then you can kind of see I'm making sure my brush stays very carefully. A little more paint. My brush stays close to the pencil line, like so. And there we have a nice wash. Okay. That looks pretty good. And again, simple formula, mix up enough paint. You look at your circle or your square or whatever shape or whatever you're drawing or painting and say, how much paint am I going to need for that? Well, this one here, I didn't need all that much, so I didn't mix a lot. If I'm making this red swatch here, well, you saw I mixed up a lot of paint there because I knew I was going to need a lot of wash to cover this area. So you mix up enough paint to cover the area, but if to be safe, you want to mix a little extra, add a little extra in there just to be safe, so you can finish your color swatch. Does that make sense? You mix a little bit extra, if anything. You don't want to have to be mixing and messing around trying to mix more colors, because then that's what's going to give you this kind of effect where you kind of start getting unpleasant looking kind of stop points and start points and mixed colors and things like that. Sometimes you want to have that look, but be in control of it. So learn the right way the first time, and then you can control this and do different kind of washes. We'll do that next, actually. Let's try that. Let's do a mix of washes. Let's use maybe we'll use our medium size. Let's use our medium size flat brush here. But let's draw our pencil line first here. So let's do something like this. Start out with a dot and say, okay, there's the dot. Now let's go across. We make a level line, as level as we can get it. If you need to use a ruler, that's fine too. You can throw a ruler down on your paper and say, all right, I'm going to use a ruler to go across here like so. And then you make another dot here, so we're going to go down here like that. And we'll make another dot here, and then we're going to go this way. And I got my hand resting on the paper the whole time, sliding across the paper. So my hand is always resting on the paper. And then I come close and I say, all right, I'm getting close to up here. I'm looking at my lines and saying, all right, here's my line up, my dot there. When I'm coming across this way, I start to slow down over here because I say I'm coming up close to this dot now. Right there I stop about close and perfect, and then I spin around and then I go up like that. And they're perfect. We have a nice rectangle there. So you're the artist. You have to practice your swatches here. Make sure you're kind of, it'll help you, you know, it helps you in your drawing skills, and it helps you in your painting skills and in your mixing of washes and colors. So I want you to do these, definitely practice these, not every week, but maybe take a break once in a while from doing paintings and just practice these a little bit, because it's going to help you tremendously, I promise you. Okay, so now we're going to try our smaller square brush like this, and then we're going to mix a multitude of colors. Let's pretend we're doing maybe like, I don't know, maybe a sky wash first here. So let's mix up plenty of blue. And again, I'm going to mix up plenty of color so that I don't run out of color. So that's my blue there. And then as we go with our blue, let's go a little bit lighter. So I just add a little more water to this. I keep dipping into my water pail to get plenty of water. So that's my two blues. Then let's go in and get some, maybe some greens. Let's mix more greens up here. And then maybe some yellows up here on the left-hand side, like that. Okay, so we're going to make a sky in some grass fields. So the first thing, let's start, and we're going to do this very simply. We're going to take this brush here and just start going across. Hands resting on the paper. And we start out and just go across, sliding the hand across. Again, all my colors are mixed up now. Okay. A little bit of that cerulean type blue there. Okay. Now we're going to start going into our greens. I'm going to leave a little white paper there. So maybe you can leave a little white paper there. Tiniest bit. Okay, so now we have the sky and the green grass, the fields. And then really close to us, let's use some of this orange. This bright green color. Plenty, I mixed plenty there, you can see that. I hope you like that swatch. You can always use a little purple up here. Let's see if we can put in some purple mountains here without getting in too much trouble. You know what? Let's let it dry. So what we're going to do is we're going to take another break, but I want you to see here how this type of effect is okay if you're doing it like this, where you mix up plenty of colors first and you say, I'm going to do a sky wash with a green field like grass and you can get that beautiful sky and field effect. And you leave a little bit of white paper, that might be your horizon line, where there's a distant, maybe some water or mountains or something over there, kind of mysterious. You're the artist, you can create some mysterious, fun things as you're creating your paintings. They can be things you create out of your imagination, or you're maybe working from a photograph or so forth. So what I'm going to do now is when we let this dry, we'll come back, we'll do some purple mountains in the distance here along this portion of the painting, which is like about the center of the painting approximately. And but the thing is, we have to let this dry 100%. So I'm going to come back in like 10-15 minutes when it's dry, and then we'll add in some purple mountains, and I think that'll be fine. We'll have a nice, actually small mini painting here. You'll kind of see how we do this. We kind of work layers first, let it dry. This would be the glazing technique. We talk about that often on my channel all the time. Glazing technique, we do it frequently. Basically, you get a wash down first on your paper, let it dry 100% completely, 100% complete, you let it dry, then you go over top with your other colors that are usually darker, and then you can go over and do some darker washes, and then it looks really good. And then we're going to do that. We're going to do a purple mountain wash on top of this once this dries, but we have to let it dry 100%, so that's why I'm going to take a break. And while I take a break, actually, before I do, I want to just mention, hey, please, if you haven't subscribed, consider subscribing to my channel right here on the right-hand side down below the screen here. There's a subscribe button. You click on that. All it does is just alert you to my videos when they come out every week. And this way you won't miss out on any of our videos. We're having a great time here. We're doing everything watercolor. We paint all kinds of subject matter. We do practice type videos like this one here, where we're doing some swatches and some really fundamental work that you need to do as a watercolor artist to get better at your skills. So we mix everything up here on my channel. You're going to get a lot of great information. And that's all it does, is let you know when a new video comes out. It doesn't mean I'm going to send you an email or anything like that. There's no... the subscribe button just means YouTube alerts you that I've made a new video, and that's all it is. There's no other catches to it or anything like that. So I just want to let you feel comfortable with that, so you don't feel like you're going to be on some kind of mailing list or anything like that, or getting phone calls. We all get those, annoying phone calls. So no worries. Have, fun here as we're practicing along together, and I'll be right back. All right, we're getting back started again. I took a quick break, 10-15 minutes. This feels pretty dry. I can tell on my watercolor paper. I'm touching it a little bit. I can look at it. Usually you can always tell when watercolor paper is dry when you've done a wash, and you look at that wash, and you can kind of see there's no glossiness to it whatsoever, and it looks really dry, and the paper looks just right. No sheen, no gloss to it. The water is actually completely dry. You'll see it, basically. And then just to double check, you might touch just a tiny bit in a spot or two, and you kind of feel it and say, perfect, it's dry now, excellent. Now we're going to go back in and do our purple mountain here. So I'm going to use my Simply Simmons paintbrush. So I just use that. I rinse off my brush, wet the brush, dampen it, tap off a little bit of water on the tissue, go in and get some purple. And let's do some purple mountains in the very distance here. And so here we're just doing maybe like a mini painting. And we left that white bit of paper there. That could be like a basin where there's like some sand or some limestone or something like that out in the west. The beautiful western landscapes. You can have fun and pretend in your mind you're out in the west. And then you can also, too, have really have fun with this. You can actually make another mountain range behind this darker one you just created by just dampening your brush, drying it off on you dry it off on a paper towel or some tissue like this. Dry it. You make sure your paintbrush is on a nice point like that, and then you just take a little bit of that paint, just a tiny bit though, not too much, And you can make another lighter mountain range in the background. And then this way you have two mountain ranges. Can you see how that looks? I think you might be able to see that on camera. If not, I'm going to zoom in just a second. Let me do that. Let me zoom in just a little bit. And I'm just trying to make it lighter. So have fun with this. Maybe try a distant mountain range. You can make this one even darker. Make some brown mixed in with purple and some green. Brown, purple, and green to make them maybe like a more muddy looking purple. Dry off your brush, and you can even do more of a closer. Again, you might want to wait till this dries a little bit, but you could do that too. You could put it in now, let it kind of diffuse into the, like so. Ah, look how good that looks. So you can get in a little, and you can kind of make it, you know, maybe not paint it everywhere. Leave a little bit of spaces in between some of the darker passages there on the front mountain range. You know, blot up a couple spots. Like that. Maybe there's a little bit of rocks and formations there like that. Maybe take some red and orange. You know, usually there's some really beautiful reddish rock out west. Out west in the United States, I know they have some really beautiful rock formations and beautiful mountain ranges in the west. And so you can add in some of that red to this painting here, like so, just to give it that feel of like a little bit of red hues to this. And you can look up online the mountain ranges out west or wherever you live. You might say, I'm going to do a research project and look at some mountains and from around the world, different places, and you can maybe incorporate those into your paintings. But here I kind of tried to maybe do a few of those rock formations like so. And there you can just turn, what we did is we did a small swatch like this, and now you've turned it into a beautiful painting. You could take this same painting or this same swatch. You're with me, right, on this? You could take a swatch like this, and let's see what it is. This is like 1.5 inches maybe. Let's take a look. Yeah, this is 1.5 inches by 4 inches. You can do a couple of practice runs on this with just the way we just did it now. Then you can turn around and take a paper and make it like, take a watercolor paper, a large sheet of paper, and maybe make it like 12 inches by like 24 inches. So then you can upscale this. You can say, okay, I've just successfully completed a beautiful swatch with the colors we used here. Then I take it from here, which is 1.5 inches by 4 inches, we said. You can parlay that, grab a large sheet of watercolor paper, a large pad of paper, and then maybe make it like 1 foot by 2 feet. So you can take a 1 foot, 12 inch by 24 inch piece of paper, and then all you have to do is get larger brushes to do the painting. And you can use the same palette. You just got to mix lots of, fill up your wells here in your palette. You have to fill them up with lots of paint first, because if you're gonna do a painting of 1 foot by 2 foot, so if you're doing like a 1 foot high by 2 foot, and I'm already out, I gotta zoom back out here. So if you're doing like a 1 foot high by 2 foot wide painting, doing it the same exact way as we're doing it here, all you have to remember is you've got to upscale your brushes. You got to use larger brushes. So you might have to go out and pick up some larger brushes. You can probably do like a 1 inch or 1.5 inch brush like this. You've got to use some larger brushes on this though if you're going to do a 12 by 24. And then you can still use your round brush like a Simply Simmons to get in your fine details like this that we did. But to get this in quickly, 12 by 24 inch, you got to use larger square brushes like this. Mix lots of wash in there in your wells, but just use the same colors we mixed, just make it a lot more, mix a lot more in there so you can get that whole first wash, your first glazing done quickly. So all we've done is just shown you, I'm just showing you how when you're practicing these swatches like this, these can be parlayed into full-size paintings just by using the same method and techniques, just by a simple, change in paper size and larger brushes. So you might have to go out eventually, maybe not now, but maybe in a month or 2 or 6 months from now, you save up, you get a larger brush or two, get your brushes a little larger, you can make larger paintings, but you practice here first on smaller paintings, and then when you get to that larger painting, when you want to do it and go for it and say, hey, I'm going to make a large painting, I'm going to mat it, and I'm going to frame it, I'm going to put it on my wall, and you'll have an exciting painting for your house or your place, or maybe you're going to give it for a gift for somebody or something like that. You'll be able to do it simply just by doing it this way. Practicing at first small swatches. And incidentally, this is how Norman Rockwell, one of the greatest all-time watercolor artists of all time in the United States, Norman Rockwell used to practice these type of small swatches first before he would do his major finished paintings. He would do these just incessantly. So always remember, these type of things I'm trying to show you are just going to be great for you. They're going to help you with your watercolor paintings. And so we're going to see it in just a second. We're going to actually do a few more swatches here, and then I think we'll call it a finished video here. But I just do want to do a few more. Maybe we'll do some different colors. Okay? All right, so we'll be right back. Okay, everybody. Thanks again for sticking in. We're doing a great job here. You're doing a great job there, doing your swatches, learning the process of pencil sketching in your squares, your rectangles, your circles, whatever shapes you want to paint. And you're just going to draw them first, and then you're going to paint them with your watercolor paints, and you're just going to use that same process. Make sure you mix up enough paint so you can finish your swatch, whatever size swatch you make. If you just make a small swatch like this, you don't have to mix up too much paint. But if you're doing a larger swatch like this or like these or something like this, you have to mix up ahead of time, and you have to mix up the different colors too. So you want to mix up your blues for the sky and your greens ahead of time, so you can just work right through your swatch and get it done in one shot. And then we went back in and did some darker washes, as you can see there. So the thing is, I know I zoomed in here and I kind of lost a little bit of the bottom part of this page, but just to go over this a second time, so that we're sort of on the same page here. So if you make a small swatch like this, and we said we made our swatch 1.5 inches by 4 inches. And that's what we did here, 1.5 inches by 4 inches. You can, again, take that same, practice this 3 or 4 times, just the way we just did it now. We let it dry. We did a first wash, we did the glazing technique. So we remember, we write down, this is the glazing technique. So I tend to make a lot of notes when I'm doing my artwork. Glazing technique. Okay, glazing technique. First wash, let it dry 100%, and then go back over and do your second washes and third washes after that. But it has to dry 100% first after your first wash. So we did this first swatch here, and then we let it dry, and then we came in and did our darker mountain range in the back here along this horizon line. Now what we were saying was, if you do 3 or 4 of these and practice them, right, and you do them just like we did it here on this video, then you can take that, and like I said, you could easily make a really large, beautiful painting by just upsizing your paper. So instead of using 1.5 inches by 4 inch, you can go with a watercolor paper size of 12-inch by 24-inch, and this would be an unusual, well, it's like a panoramic type style you would be doing, but you could still put that in a frame and have that for your house, your home. So 12 by 24 inch. Now the only thing you have to do different than when we do our smaller swatch that we just did here is we talked about how you have to upsize your brushes, because to try to do this quickly and effectively, you have to have some larger brushes here. So that's when you'd want to upsize your brushes to going from like a ½ inch here on this one, a ½ inch. You'd want to bump up to a 1 inch. That'd be fine. Or you can even go 1.5 inches like this one. But you just have to remember you want to upsize your brushes. And then the only other thing you want to do is you just want to make sure, and we'll just kind of demonstrate it here, is, let's say you're going to do the sky. You're going to want to make sure you mix lots of wash for your sky. Get tons of paint in that paint tray there in our palette, so that when you do your sky wash for your 12 inch by 24 inch, you've got tons of sky wash, and you can go right across and get your sky wash done effectively, quickly. Then you would have this already mixed up ahead of time. You'd have the green also mixed up ahead of time, just like this, and then you'd go right across. And you would do your greens right across like that with some yellows. Like that. And of course, we forgot to leave that little white spot in there, but you get the idea. That's what I'm saying. Larger brushes, if you're going to make a larger painting. That's really, and more paint in your palette. And those are the only two things that you have to really remember when you're working with a larger size painting. So you can go from a small swatch like this to a larger painting, very simply. Okay, so now let's do maybe 1 or 2 more swatches here, just so we get the hang of things. Let's do a larger sphere. So we'll do another sphere here. Let's do another larger sphere. Let's do this one up here. I'm just going to draw a larger sphere like this. Like that. And then we'll do this one with, let's try a larger sphere with a paintbrush, with a square brush. So now let's make this one. Let's do some different, let's go with a purple color. Okay, so I mix up plenty of paint there. I have plenty of paint. Like that. Touch down on the paper. And I just go right around. And then I notice I need more paint. Pick up more paint. I try to carefully paint along the line. I want to stay within those lines. I went over a little bit there. And then over here, like that. There we go. So we just did a really beautiful sphere with a square brush. And we did this sphere here with or circle with a round brush. And let's try another shape. Maybe let's do a pyramid. Like that. Triangle, pyramid. And let's let's use our Simply Simmons number 6 round brush. Maybe we'll use a blue again. Maybe a blue so we have plenty of blue mix there. So I take my hand again, hand firmly on the paper, touch down your brush, and then just smooth your brush upwards. Stop short of your point so you can spin your brush around this way, hand resting on the paper, and then you can finish doing the top of your peak of that pyramid or that gable. Could be a roof gable. Then you go back in, you've got plenty of mixed paint. That's what we're saying. Mix plenty of paint so you can keep right on rocking and rolling as you go with your swatches here. And always remember, when you, now does this make sense? Whenever you get near an area where you feel like you can't see the edge of where you have to paint to because your brush is in the way, you lift up and stop and then take your brush and maybe take a different angle on it. So if I'm going this way and I can't see this corner of the swatch, then I stop, lift up my brush and maybe spin my hand around this way and go on the other side, rest my hand on the paper, and then I can go this way and do a couple touch-up strokes right in the corner here so that I can get it accurate. So I guess we don't want to just keep painting and then go over and paint over the area we're trying to keep accurate. So we want to keep our washes accurate to where we have our pencil lines. That's good practice. You're the artist. You want to keep that in mind when you're practicing, that you want to be able to paint your areas you have penciled out, that in the future or the next time you paint, you might be painting a finished painting. You wouldn't want to paint over a section and ruin it by going over a line and going far out, like an inch over your line. You'd want to go close to that line, stop, look at it, and go, how am I going to paint the rest of that? If I can't see it, well, then you got to spin your brush around the other way so you can see the pencil lines, and then you just spin your brush around in a different angle like this, and keep your hand resting on the paper all the time, and you're all set. So remember that. You keep your hand resting on the paper no matter what you're doing. You're always, whatever you're shifting around your brush, whatever way you're going, you can just remember your hands resting on the paper, not in the paint. Keep your hands away from the paint all the time. If you're righty, you're always painting left to right, so you're always working this way, so you're not leaning in any wet paint. And if you're a lefty, then you're painting from your right side of your painting this way, and you're just working across your painting this way. So you can always keep your hand on your paper, resting on your paper, and having a good, safe, secure technique with your brush and painting, your brushwork. All right, let's do one more. Here, let's do another shape here. So we have square, rectangle, circle. Let's do a tube, or we'll do a large rectangle here. And let's use we'll use a square brush again. Okay, let's go and get some greens and yellows, orange. Again, hand resting on the paper. I'm going to go maybe top down, like so. Now I can't see down here, so let me spin my brush around this way, and then hand resting on the paper, and finish the last bit of swatch there on the bottom. And then we go down again, spin around so I can see the edge of the brush, like that. One more time like this. Spin around the brush the other way, and do that. This way you can get it really accurate. You'd rather learn how to paint really accurately at first, and then after that you can get more free about your painting and not maybe fuss around too much. But if you can paint real accurately first, then your habits are all set, and then from there you're okay. You won't have a problem with your techniques going forward. So that's why I kind of want to show you these techniques here, these methods with your color swatches and little tidbits of information. You're the artist. You have to decide what's going to be good for your painting skills and your methods and your techniques as you work as an artist. I'm hoping you're going to see that these type of things right here are fantastic for your techniques and methods as a watercolor artist. And I think if you practice these once in a while, doesn't have to be every week or anything like that, but just every once in a while, maybe once a month, set it on your calendar. Once a month, I'm going to practice my swatches video, and you just remember, maybe you save this video, and maybe you practice this video every month, once a month, or once every 2 months. And I guarantee it's going to actually help your techniques tremendously as a watercolor artist. So thanks so much for coming by. I really appreciate it. And again, I always say, if you can, please feel free. You can subscribe on the right-hand side below here on the video. If you subscribe, it just means that YouTube's going to alert you when my videos come out, so you'll be informed that I've made a new video, and I'm really excited that you're going to come by and watch my video, and we're going to work together here and get better at our paintings. And that's all it is. It's not anything else. As far as the subscribe button, you're not going to get any phone calls or emails or any kind of solicitations or anything like that. That's not what it's about whatsoever at all. That's not what YouTube does. They just want to alert you that I made a new painting, and a new video because they want you to have the information that you enjoy on this network and this channel. So again, thanks so much for coming by. We'll see you soon. And then also very soon we're going to make another video. We're going to do more of a more advanced painting video. Please join in on that too. You can learn a lot from that, and you can paint along with all these paints, the same as my other paints that I use and the other brushes I use and all that and all the stuff that I do on my other videos. If you're an extreme beginner, you're just starting out, don't feel shy. Grab your brushes when I do my other paintings and try them out too if you want. It's up to you. You have the choice, and you're the artist. So if you want to jump in and do some more, advanced types paintings, do it. Just, try little bits and pieces of it or whatever you want. Or if you just want to stick to these basic videos, please do that too. But I'm just so happy you're here. You're painting. You're going to get great at watercolor painting, that's for sure. Stick with this channel. Stick with me here. Stick with all of us. We're all together in this journey as watercolor artists. And I know you're going to have a wonderful time and have a happy time painting. It's part of life that you can enjoy, doing some watercolor paintings and having fun with it, okay? So we'll see you soon. Bye-bye.